Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to our Ask a VC series. We've hosted a number of these shows since April 2020, and I think some of you have been along for the ride. I'd like to thank Invest Hong Kong for sponsoring this series. We have a very active series this August, and with 3 of them in a row, that's our usual August fanfare. And just a little bit about our platform. Many books, a lot of content, our newsletter, our Circle membership, this series, our events, including an event coming up in San Francisco. Okay, and one more person joining. And you can find all of that on silicondragonventures.com. So I'm working on another book out next year with a bunch of co-authors, so stay tuned with that. So today I'd like to welcome to the show LePhuong Lee. LePhuong, why don't you say hello to everyone and introduce yourself a little bit? I put together this slide about you, but I know today you're joining us from Boston, but your business is based in San Diego, which is like the biotech hub of the United
Yes.
States, including Boston too. Um, but yeah, interesting. I did a little preview interview with Mifong, and I was able to eke out some more details about her, which beyond this slide that you see now. She had a co-founder. They co-founded a company called Microtech. They were interested in scaling it up, and they kept hearing the same thing from biotech startups about how difficult it is to start up and scale up. So they started this lab in San Diego, which is a proof of concept lab. And now they're raising a VC fund of 50 million. They've closed some, soft circled some money already. Her co-founder is also a PhD. They're bioscientist. We're not usually doing biotech on our show, but it's a very hot area, as you know, in China. A lot of drug discovery in China. We've had on Gary Rochelle, one of the leading biotech investors, basically his firm in the world, from Ximing. But today I'd like to welcome Mifong. Can I just say a few words about our upcoming shows too? I mentioned the series. The Good Science Fund is August 18th. All of these are at 4 p.m. Pacific time, so we can capture East Coast and also Asia. Then we have Wayne Xiong from tuning in from Hong Kong, 4 p.m. August 24. So let me get back to our main program here. And let's see if we have any questions so far. Anyone have any questions or observations so far? No one? Okay. So let's go to Mifong. Mifong, um, tell us about what you're doing now. I'm really interested in these labs you have going in San Diego and what they're working on and what you're seeing, how you're helping other startups to get going in biotech and what you're actually working on yourself in the biotech medical device space. Why don't you give us a little preview?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Yifeng. So just a very brief history. Leah Villegas, who's the other co-founder of Aquillius and is the MP of the Aquillius Ventures. We actually met a little bit over 20 years ago in graduate school from the University of Florida, and we both have our PhD in pharmaceutical science. We did a 10 to 15-year stint in academia. We were in Denver at the Andrews Medical Campus working on developing our own therapies and struggled trying to figure out how to develop it and get it out to market.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a result, we came with a plan B, which was, do we start our own biotech company? Lo and behold, we came here to San Diego for a conference and met our other co-founder, who's an engineer and his background was in the manufacturing. And so in 2015, we created a Microtech, which is our manufacturing electronic company, and our specialties in microelectronics. So we help manufacture these very small devices the implantables, the wearables, the sensors that you guys are seeing out there right now. We were still at the university while the other third co-founder ran the company. And then in 2019, we moved to San Diego because we got an SBIR grant to develop a intratracheal lung delivery device. And then lo and behold, COVID came. And we got back up the next day because we were considered essential medical because we were making all these medical devices.
Yeah.
And so we actually were able to grow the company from, 6, 7 employees to 50, 60, 70 employees during COVID.
Well,
Um, but because of COVID, we weren't able to do effectively our research on our device, and we became purely a manufacturing company. Um, and so we grew, but then the opportunity for us was, Lee and my background is we're into pharmaceutical science, so we were developing therapies. But when we were at Microtech, we had the experience of working with device companies, right? Medical device companies, satellite companies, and stuff like this, and it opened our eyes to devices, medical devices, and we just went, this is very interesting. Unlike a therapy, which could take, 100 years to get to market, a
mhm.
medical device, you can probably get it out in 2 to 5 years. And so it can get out there to help the patients. And then also for the investor side, right, you can have those earlier exits that they're obviously interested in. But from that experience, we noticed similar things that we felt at the university. The founders were isolated. They felt siloed away. They didn't know what experts to where to find those experts, who to trust. They had a hard time finding investors. And then, considering that most of them came out of academia, uh, we didn't go to school to learn how to start a company. We didn't go to school learning how to run a company. And then suddenly, because we have this great idea, we're supposed to now just, come up with a story, pitch, go in front of investors, get a bunch
Yeah.
of money, and then to go, oh yeah, this is how we know how exactly what to do. And I'm pretty sure all of you guys have seen a lot of pitches, and the ones that are more, science heavy, it feels like you're going to a scientific conference.
Yeah.
Um, right? And so we're kind of here to help them transition over. And so we thought about this and we went, this is very, very interesting that even companies, early stage companies are struggling with these connections like we had struggled in academia.
Mhm.
Could we actually create a place that encourages people to come together?
Mhm.
And so in 2021, Lee and I left Microtech and we spun out and we created Aquillius, which is our innovation hub. It's here in San Diego. It's a 25,000 square foot facility. We have co-working office space, we have wet labs, we have a cell culture room. We just added a vivarium so they can actually do their in vivo studies. And we even added clean rooms so they can actually manufacture. And so the hope here is we created a facility that is flexible enough to adjust to the needs of the startups. Uh, so that's us. And then right now we just launched our VC arm of the company, Aquillius Ventures, and we are fundraising a $50 million fund to be able to then invest in these startups that we are trying to help. We're providing them the resources, helping them get connected to the experts, and hopefully other investors in the ecosystem to invest in them and help them drive their technology.
Well, that's great. Well, how did you come up the learning curve on startups and pitches and the whole tech ecosystem? It sounds like you just made grand leap and and did it. But I'm sure there was a huge learning curve along the way, and I'd love to hear more about how that happened.
Definitely. I think a lot of it just came from um, exposure to other startups,
Okay.
and then going to a lot of these networking events, getting connected to other startups and hearing their pitches and just going, you guys only have 3 minutes.
Yeah.
No one's going to understand your science that quick. What
Right.
is your story? How can you tug at my heart or tug at my interest enough to go, oh yeah, that's what an investor would want to hear, and then open up the wallet or be interested enough to want to learn more. And so it was then, learning which pitches caught our attention, which one just was just over the top, too much information, and so you couldn't really understand what it is that they were doing. And I
Right.
think it really helped us hone into to what was needed for these startups is really being able to tell that story of theirs, what it is that they're creating. And I think there's amazing
Please
technologies
hold
that's
while I try to
built,
connect you.
but they have such a hard time explaining what it is that they're doing.
Okay. Yeah, I hear you. I have seen many pitches like that where it gets way too technical, and it's hard to tell the founder, wait, you're too technical. No one's going to get this except your colleagues. Uh,
Yes, I
and so
agree.
you have to tell them, look,
誒，sorry，撳錯掣，我應
you
該係
got to
打
go
俾第
to
二
the
個同事嘅，
basics.
唔好意
So,
思。
Lawrence, I think
OK，
you
好，
need to put
拜拜。
yourself on mute. Um, some people need to put themselves on mute, okay? Um, so, all right. Well, it's always very busy and never a dull moment in the VC land here. So, how does the culture how are you adapting to this different culture of VC versus medical devices? Medical devices, like that's got to be like a very kind of narrow scope on the world, and now you have a much broader scope of the world with VC and the horizon of startups.
Yes. So for us, for our VC, because we're very interested in bringing people together, and encourage them to connect, because this cross-pollination could actually lead to, new ideas, new connections that could actually really help these startups. And so our VC fund is actually we consider it a generalist VC fund. So we're
Oh,
interested in
uh-huh.
investing in early stage companies. So seed, pre-seed, a little bit of Series A, primarily in the medtech diagnostic. We
Okay.
also do life sciences.
Okay.
And the other things we're interested in is kind of the sustainability angle,
Mhm.
with really the goal of how do we improve human health,
Okay.
and kind of looking at, what what are some of these environmental impacts that's making an impact on us.
Right.
So for instance, everyone here has probably heard about all these microplastics found in our body. We all have heard about Flint, Michigan, about how they're drinking contaminated water. So yeah, I mean, we can fund a cure for cancer, but if you're still, eating and drinking contaminated water, what will that do? And so we kind of have a more of a holistic approach towards
Okay.
our investment.
Well, you must be looking at what's happening in the vaccine area right now.
Yeah, it's
Any
interesting.
any opinion on it?
Outside of making this political, uh, vaccinations are also very important to human health, and I think it's needed for global attempts at treating or preventing disease.
Okay.
And I don't think there's really much other modalities out there that can be that easily deployed
Hmm.
that quickly to have a huge impact on the number of population.
Okay. Now, are you focused mainly on US or do you have an international platform?
So we're interested in supporting internationals also. So our mandate isn't just on the in the US.
Uh-huh.
And so I think the beauty of coupling our VC fund with an actual physical hub
Yeah.
that could be a landing spot for a lot of these international startups wanting to come over to the United States.
Mhm.
And so, we have the lab space so they can just come in, rent out the space, and get started pretty soon.
Mhm. Mhm. How many startups are you working with right now?
So when we first started and moved into our facility in 2022, that was smack dab, like COVID.
Yeah.
And so we had supply chain issues, we had labor issues.
Yeah.
It actually took us a year and a half to even get in a lab bench and centrifuges. And
Oh,
so as a result, we had to adapt. And so we did a lot of just events that were hybrid. And so right now within the physical space, we have about 20 or so companies using our facility. But we do a lot of these events. And so it's national and also international. And so we have kind of that larger network to support them and connect them with experts and investors.
okay. Well, there's an active cross-border seeing California and Asia. So you must be getting a lot of Asian founders coming in, interested in it.
Yeah, so we're talking to Korean startups,
Uh-huh.
Japanese startups. So those two are part of the main companies that are interested.
I see. Interesting. Okay. So yeah, I think it's fascinating actually that you actually took this step of building this incubator lab and then taking the next step of starting a venture fund. And have you invested in any of these startups yet?
Yes, we've invested in a few. One of the companies we're interested in is actually developing a mRNA therapy to regenerate the heart.
Okay.
And so we think that's a technology, obviously, that's very interesting and not only supports, men's health, but also women's health.
Okay. Anything else?
We're very much interested in both manufacturing. So there's a company out in Colorado that just came that has a technology to help manufacture chemicals more streamlined, less expensive. There's another company also out of Colorado that has a app to help the elderly from falling.
Mhm. Okay.
And then another company that's developed a medical device for treating foot ulcers in
I
diabetes.
see. Okay. You're also doing some events too, where
Yes.
actually startups come and they pitch and you have judges.
Yes,
So you have one coming up in Baltimore, is that right?
correct.
Okay,
So that's happening September 9th.
I see. And is that a day-long event or is it an evening event? Tell us a little bit
Uh,
about.
I would probably say it's about 6, 7 hours.
Mhm.
So what we really like to do is bring in investors, bring in experts, and then for the next 2 to 3 hours, they host these roundtable discussions.
I see.
So we break the audience into smaller groups,
Okay.
and then we rotate them around the different tables.
Uh-huh.
We found this really encourages, discussions and conversations because usually in a bigger crowd, like a panel discussions, a lot of the introverts don't really open up and ask
Yeah.
questions. But in a
Yeah.
small setting, they're a lot more comfortable. And
Mhm.
then for the experts, they have that more meaningful engagement with the audience.
Do you have anything planned like that for California?
We do. We do a lot of events here in San Diego. So this event, the MedTech Diagnostic event, that's actually happening bi-coastal.
Oh,
So we are actually doing it here physically in San Diego and also physically in Baltimore, and then having a hybrid virtual component behind that.
I see.
But we do a lot of our events in San Diego, and then during JPM, we actually go up to San Francisco and we do one around women's health.
Oh, I see. Yeah, right. Because we have a lot of people here on the Zoom are here in San Francisco, so they'll be interested in that, the JP Morgan conference in January, which gets so much attention. So you'll be there for that event.
Yes,
Okay, with your own event.
yes.
Okay, well, I may see you there then, because I like to go to that conference too. So what else? Is expansion possibilities? How about Hong Kong? How about Boston?
Yeah, I think we've been asked multiple times if we have other locations or if we're interested in expanding. We're definitely interested in expanding, but we also have another concept that we're interested in potentially building.
I see.
And to us, it's really connecting the startup ecosystem together. Because right now we really feel it's extremely disjointed, and it's extremely siloed away.
Right.
And we really need to break that mold to
Okay.
really encourage people to come together.
I see. Okay. Well, it sounds very revolutionary in the medical field. And so congratulations to you for putting together this incubator and venture fund and these events that help to expand the ecosystem. Anything you would like to add, or would anyone like to ask a question at this point? So, all right, if not, I'm going to ask you, well, do you partner with anyone on these events? Like you were talking about Baltimore, you made me think of Johns Hopkins. What about in San Diego? Do you have partners there who are helping you get these various initiatives in the works?
Yes, I think what we're very much interested in is creating a collaborative ecosystem. So we're always open to partnerships. We're working with a number of other, organizations, nonprofit organizations, to see how we can come together.
Mhm.
Leah likes to always say we're not interested in a turf war. It doesn't really make sense. We're really interested in bringing people together. How can we create this village approach to helping these startups be successful? Because for us, our goal at Aquillius is how do we help that startup become successful so that they get their technology out to the market? So it gets into the hands of the patients, into the hands of the consumers, and finally having that impact that I think we're all interested in them having, right? And so we're trying to break down barriers, and we're very interested in, how can we help each other out and create kind of this win-win situation and just uplifts the community.
Did you ever imagine you were going to be doing something like this back when you were earning your PhD?
So that's a interesting question. So when I graduated from my undergraduate, I actually went to work for the Genome Center at the University of Washington, and I actually worked on the Human Genome Project.
Oh,
And so we were sequencing chromosome, I think 7 and 11. And I remember going in there and going, what would be really cool if we could create this institute where, I could help fund PI so they're not wasting the time writing grants, and that
hmm.
they can actually create technologies that we can then take and actually sell, generate monies, and then take that revenue and then reinvest in new research, new product development. And so I think this was before, incubators started. I didn't know a name behind it. This was probably like in the 80s, 90s for me. I think that was just like the beginning of incubators, accelerators. And
Yeah.
all I could remember is calling it the Institute. I would love one day to create something called the Institute so that I'm driving innovation, supporting them, coming up with products that actually helps mankind, and then just taking that money and recycling it.
Okay, so you'll recycle the money that get from eventually the biotech successes that you're fertilizing and then put the money back into more of them. But it,
Yes,
everybody always says it takes so long for a biotech company to harvest, right? Uh,
yes.
so how are you going to get around that?
I think you're having to tap into these new technologies that are coming through. Right? AI is making a huge impact,
Okay.
but a lot of times it's just in name only, right? I think there are great tools out there that's being built, and I I think the main issue is a lot of these AI technologies are being targeted to big pharma,
Mhm.
when in reality, aren't we just trying to help this whole development ecosystem better?
Mhm.
Instead of just concentrating on big pharma, how about if you actually allow academia, early stage founders to
Yeah.
use your tool,
Mhm.
partner up in a different way to streamline this process? Shouldn't take 5 years to find a lead candidate. Can we do it in 6 months, a year,
So
right?
AI is helping to speed up that process for you?
I believe so, yes.
Uh-huh.
So, no, obviously testing is still needed. And then besides I think one of the beauty of us working at an innovation hub is we see a lot of different technologies come through our door.
Mhm.
And because of that, we go, oh, your technology plus your technology, if you guys actually collaborate, you guys can really do something amazing.
I see.
And I think sometimes startups are so narrow, very focused in and very narrow. All they see is their own pathway.
Right.
And they don't really open themselves to, oh, there's this other company, there's this other company. So I'll give you an example. There's a company here in San Diego that's developed a nanoparticle technology that helps nebulize drugs so that she can deliver it nasally. It increases the drug's bioavailability, so it means more of it goes into your body, and it potentially enhances uh, crossing over the blood-brain barrier. If you were out there, if you were a startup developing brain therapy for, let's say, brain cancer, one of the biggest issues is making sure that drug actually crosses the blood-brain barrier. So they can spend years optimizing that drug molecule. And I'm like going, how about instead of spending those years, how about if you take your current molecule that you know works, utilizing right her nanoparticles, and then you've created a formulation that now does exactly what you need, deliver it to the brain, and then you've cut down your R&D time, right? So I think there's cross-pollination that could happen, but a lot of times these startups don't understand that or see that because they're only paying attention to themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
What do you make of the China biotech scene, the China pharma scene?
Yeah, I think China is amazing. I think one of the things that's beautiful about them is they have the ability to move extremely fast. And then I think the other advantage that they have is manufacturing.
Okay.
So this is one of the most critical piece of the puzzle that we are very interested in is how can we connect these startups with manufacturers earlier on during their development phase, because to us, the manufacturers have the secret sauce, and that they could actually advise these startups very early on so that they can pivot, adjust, and then make sure that they can actually manufacture it at volume. Because what are they trying to do? Are they trying to get it to, unless it's a rare disease, are they only trying to help, 1,000 patient, or are they trying to help 100 million people?
Uh-huh.
If they can't manufacture,
Right.
they're stuck. That is, they can't make any money, they can't do anything, right? And so if they realize that it would take 5 years for that manufacturer to come up with a synthetic pathway, a methodology to manufacture their compound wouldn't they want to start that now, then get FDA approval and then realize they can't manufacture?
Hmm. So that's where the China element comes in, is the manufacturing, I imagine, needs to take place in China.
That's right now making it the most affordable. But obviously, the United States is very interested in bringing that in to the United States. But it's going to take easily a decade for our abilities and capabilities to even be able to ramp up. And then just the cost of it, we really have to assess. So I've been talking to, other people in the manufacturing realm. Can it be done in the United States? Yes. Can it be affordable at this moment? No. And definitely not if it's relying on labor force because United States labor force is so much more expensive. But if you can automate that, then the costs might be comparable.
So that's where AI can play its part.
Yes.
Okay, very interesting. All right, come on, guys. What questions do you have? I'm going to pick on somebody unless somebody asks a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Lawrence.
Yeah, this is me, Lawrence, in San Francisco. So thank you for inviting us. Actually, I would have thought that if this event happened 2 months ago, I would have met Dr. Lee in San Diego and then visit her facility in San Diego.
Oh,
Very quickly, we were in San Diego for Bio 2026 with a big Hong Kong delegation with 40 companies and also Hong Kong pavilion, so to speak. And we brought them to different companies and networking. For example, we were in Biocom with Joe Planeta, the president emeritus there. We held an event of over 100 people at their facility
Mhm.
in La Jolla. So next time, maybe I should reach out to Dr. Lee. Actually, I visited your company site. I put in an inquiry, and Andy in about 10 minutes reply to my email.
oh,
So
Nice.
that is very quick response from your company.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'd
Uh,
love to host you if you ever in San Diego again.
yeah, because the delegation was led by Hong Kong Science Park. It's a big corporation with over 2,000 company on campus. And biotech, biomedical is a key cluster of companies over there. So they always want to partner and explore. So next time I should visit you. And
Yeah.
also you said that you will be in probably JP Morgan next year. We are based in San Francisco downtown. You are welcome to visit us, or I meet you somewhere
Perfect.
in JP Morgan. So,
Perfect.
and thank you also, Rebecca, bringing up the U.S.-China collaboration. We are very pleased to see the collaboration because there's so much biomedical pharma licensing between the two countries. So both are very strong in bio, and then both can work together in many ways. And I like also Aquillius focus in biomedical devices because we have many companies in the science park and US biomedical companies doing R&D there for
Mhm.
different diagnostics devices.
mhm.
Um, and they grow. Some of them grow very fast.
Mhm.
And adding on is an invitation for your portfolio company down the road when they scale up, some of them may go IPO. Think about Hong Kong, the IPO chapter dedicated for biomedical companies, pre-revenue, pre-profit companies, they are welcome to go IPO in Hong Kong. We have over 80 companies, biomedical listed in Hong Kong via that chapter already, just in about 5 years. So they have raised about 18 billion US dollar already altogether.
Nice.
So there are lots of opportunities that we would like to learn from you and then talk to you. So
Perfect.
maybe Rebecca can connect us together.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Great.
I'm thinking to do a side event during JP Morgan with LePhuong and Invest Hong Kong. That sounds like a good idea, right?
Yeah.
yeah, sounds good.
And we could do it right at your headquarters there, Lawrence.
Yeah, welcome to do it in our office.
Okay. Well, you have a great location there. right
Yeah,
in the heart of it.
downtown financial district.
Yes. All right. So let's see. I know Matten is, Matten, where are you today? Are you in Hong Kong? Or maybe he's in outer space. Anyone have another question? We covered a
Not in
lot
outer
of topics. Oh,
Not
Matten
in
is
outer
talking.
space.
Okay.
Takes a second to unmute.
Okay, good.
But very
Hi.
nice to meet.
Hi, good to see you.
And thank you for highlighting this wonderful VC and this the strength that China-U.S. collaboration can have. No comments, but just really enjoying the talk.
Okay, good. I appreciate it. Anyone else? All right. Well, if not, we are going to again share screen, and I will also remind everyone that our series is happening this month with 3 VCs in a row, all of them at 4 p.m. Pacific time. And we had a great discussion with LePhuong. Thank you so much for all your comments. It was very enlightening. I learned a lot. I'd like to learn more. I'd love to visit your facility in San Diego. So our next VC is also in the scientific field, the Good Science Fund. She's a Yale University graduate. Her name's Irvi. I'll try not to pronounce her last name, but her first name shortened is Irvi. August 18, 4 p.m. Then we head to Hong Kong with Wayne Xiong, Argo Venture Partners, who's doing stuff in robotics and AI. It's going to be very interesting. That's August 24. So hopefully you'll all join in. San Francisco, we've got an event during the SF Tech Week. That's going to be October 14th. It's a breakfast event. All of you can join our Circle membership and stroll along with me. Okay. So thank you again. And any final comments, anyone?
I'll jump in since you were kind enough to call on me. Biotech VC it's so hard to do correctly and to generate good DPIs. What's the secret sauce? It seems like a lot of biotech GPs have really struggled. And so where has the sort of methodology for finding the right winners emerged?
Okay, good question.
So that's obviously a multifaceted question. It depends on I think a number of things. So one of the things that Leah and I noticed very early on as we were looking to create our own VC fund, and this was 15 years ago before we actually pulled the trigger this past year, is a lot of times it's run by fund managers that don't have science background. They're coming from the banking world, they're coming from the finance world, and they're suddenly saying, okay, I'm just going to throw $100 million to this company because it looks cool. I'm just going to do it. I think understanding where science comes from and kind of understanding the mentality of a lot of these founders and scientists will kind of help. And so Lee and I are scientists. We try to do this at the university and really realize how hard it was to move the technology out of the university. And part of this here is as academics, we didn't get trained to know how to create a drug. We know how to do research well, but we didn't get trained on how to start a company. We didn't get trained on how to operate a company. We didn't get trained on, oh, here, a VC just gave you $10 million. How are you going to maximize that? I think we all here can find examples of biotech companies that got in, $50 million investment and they spent half of that on a facility. And 2 years later, they went bankrupt, right? And so VCs are throwing monies to people who don't know how to manage the money because they've never done it before. Second, they are concentrating on the science of their technology and they're not focusing on the actual business of their company, right? They're not thinking about, oh, how do I do manufacturing of it? Who am I trying to reach out to it? And so they don't understand all the milestones that they need to hit in order to achieve the end goal. They're solely focusing on what's the experiments I need to do? What's the animals experiments I need to do? How do I get the money to bring it into clinical studies?
Right.
And that's it. They're not seeing anything else. And then I think there are other aspects of the technology that sometimes they're not thinking about until it's too late in the game. So I think, again, we have examples of companies who did get FDA approval, but they don't know how to market it. They don't know how to manufacture it. They didn't get reimbursement into, years later. They don't know how to deploy it. And so I think there are a lot of these issues that happens that if we were able to help de-risk them, then you can lead to that greater success. And that's really what we're trying to do in our fund.
So that's helping them on the business side, and that makes a lot of sense, especially if you're dealing with companies that are founded by amazing scientists. They have the same problems on the business side. But how about picking the winners in biotech? That's been really tricky, especially when you're looking at early stage investments. You don't know how the clinical data will end up coming out necessarily. How do you de-risk that from a fund perspective and from a getting to a clinical perspective?
Yeah, so I think part of that is knowing kind of what are the key experiments that they need to perform, so that you're getting the information that you need to be able to assess it, right? I think a lot of times the scientists, the founders are doing a variety of different experiments and really not answering the question that they need, right? Does the technology work? How does it work? What's the dose? What's the safety behind it? So there's all of these critical experiments that can be conducted to really say, oh, that is a true signal versus, and is it reproducible? And then sometimes it's also understanding maybe that particular drug molecule is only helping a specific subsection because of their genetics, but it may not work with everybody else. So I think there's ways to then fine tune those more personalized medicine to the patient.
Okay, good answer. Madison, you ought to be a judge for her startup pitches.
Yeah, sure. Do that.
Okay. All right, good. Is it virtual? Yeah, I wonder if you do it virtually, LePhuong, or not?
Yes, you can.
You can. Okay. All right, you can count me in then too. I'd like to judge. I'd
Perfect.
like to do that too. But anyhow, thank you so much for participating, everyone. I hope you had a great time hearing all about this discovery world of biotech and innovation and science and labs and all this stuff that, like you said, probably we didn't have incubators, accelerators 30 years ago, 20 years ago. It's just the startup scene has really taken off, and AI is accelerating it even more. So hope you all tune in to our next show. It's coming right up, and I'll remind everyone it's August 18, and yes, August 18. And it's with the Good Science Fund. And I'd like to thank LePhuong for her patience with us and her great answers too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rebecca. Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you,
Bye.
Rebecca. One last question to you. You
Oh,
mentioned October 14th.
Yes.
That is the TechCrunch Day, is it?
Yes,
Yes.
ours is breakfast.
Oh, I see.
That's
Let
the
me
women's
know.
breakfast.
You got to get up early for that.
That's fine.
Okay,
That's That's the women's tech brunch.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, we'll see you there.
We'll see you there, the multi-gender
Yeah.
Okay,
breakfast.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
bye.
bye.